Hello, everybody. Rodney Bush. I am in Lebanon, Tennessee. That is not Lebanon. That's Lebanon, Tennessee, near Nashville, about 25 miles from the airport. I'm 65 years old. I've lived all around. This is not about me today. This is about you. It's about introducing this business to you. And what we're going to hope to do as we get to the middle part of this in the next 10, 15 minutes is to open up the mics and do a Q&A. So if you have something that's not now, if you're brand new, kind of hold off. You're not brand new probably, but brand new questions we'll help you with on a personal basis. So those who've been involved a little while might have a little more intense question, but either way, we'll help you. I'm not trying to disgrade, brand new people because we want you here. But again, I'm Rodney Bush, 65 years old. I like to talk about my family, 3 kids, 9 grandchildren, 4 great grandchildren, and I'm working for my legacy. This is not about me, but it's about them. So that's my reason for being here, and everybody has one. I'm privileged to have Mr. Brewer, and Stephan Brewer has been a tax attorney in business for 3 decades or more, retired from the quote Air Force, and just has a tremendous business life. He might tell us a little bit more about himself, but he's been doing FICA taxes for a very long time, known as one of the best in the country with FICA taxes and all the facts and figures and details. We're going to learn about that, maybe a little bit more of something. But either way, Gene, I'm glad you made it. And just kind of looking around, I saw other people entering the room. Mr. Brewer, Stephan, I'm sorry, he's a Stephanie, but he's brought to us an amazing affiliate program. This is not MLM for those who like to say, well, this is MLM. No, it's not. So, Mr. Brewer, if you will, lead us on, and let me make sure I've got you as a presenter, co-host, and that's going to be a fact as of right now for sure.
All right, let me bring up my screen.
And while he's bringing it, let me tell you one more thing. There's other opportunities within this company. So you'll learn about those. I'm focused on this personally, but there's some other tax plans and opportunities you'll learn about. Mr. Brewer.
All right, so can you see my screen? Can you see the landing page?
Sure. Yes, sir.
All right, this is the same landing page that all the reps use. So the reps would send clients to this landing page with attribution, meaning we know that that's your client. We know your client hit that landing page. We also know if your client filled out this survey right here. So we would know that. In the back office, you would know that would become a lead. You would get the information that's listed here, that was captured here. You would have that in your back office. So you know someone that you sent marketing to landed on this landing page, and ultimately they filled out the survey. And at the end of the survey, they have an opportunity to set an appointment with me to discuss the FICA opportunity. So it's estimated that anywhere from 80 to 90% of small businesses do not know about this program. This program's been around since 1993. It's consistently been, it hasn't been on and off. It's consistently been around. It's just a lot of businesses don't know anything about it. And the main reason for that is payroll services do not offer this. They'll tell the client, this is how much the FICA tips tax credit is, but you're responsible for going after it. We are not going to do it for you. We are not going to reduce the taxes. So they consider that to be a liability, so they will not do it. And so the other likely candidate that would tell you about this is the tax preparer. And tax preparers, for the most part, during tax season, do not have time to pursue this. This is time-consuming work, takes time to gather it and verify the numbers are all correct and amend returns. They don't have time for that. So they don't typically do this as well. So that's the reason why it's not well known. That, and there's 70,000 pages to the U.S. tax code, and there's only so much that a typical compliance preparer can keep up with. They're more worried about getting the numbers on the return in the proper fashion than they are worried about trying to find tax deductions and tax credits for you. So that's what we do. So that's why we exist. That's why we thrive, is because that's what we do. We're good at it. So tax recovery is what I call that, is finding deductions and credits for clients, and especially for back returns. Luckily, right now, we can go back 7 years because of a court case that enforced the regulations that state that anytime during a national disaster, all deadlines are postponed until 60 days after the disaster is over with. Well, COVID, that takes the deadline for COVID out to July 10th of 2023, which you have 3 years later to file a return for amendment. So that means we've got till July 10th of 2026 for those returns that are older returns, 19, 20, 21. So we can add those on to what would be the normal for FICA tips, which is the current year plus 3 years back. So right now we're able to amend 7 years. So the median refund, throwing out the highs and throwing out the lows, is $101,000. And it's estimated by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago that upwards of $11 billion goes unclaimed every year. And this is a big part of that. So this next statement here, the 3 years, that will go back after July 10th of 26. That will go back to 3 years back. But right now we can do the 3 years plus, so 3 years plus another 3 years. So we can currently do 7 years. So we already talked about the payroll services. Most of them, almost all of them, do not offer this service. So
Mr. Brewer, the 3 years and 3 years, there's an extra year in there somewhere because it adds up to 7. How is
it
that
does.
when you say you file, it's a current year plus
So the
the previous
normally
3 years?
the refund statute is 3 years back. So it's always the current year plus 3 years back. But because of the provisions for COVID, it gives us another 3 years. So the regulation states for any time period during a nationally declared disaster, the statute of limitations and all deadlines are postponed until 60 days after the end of the national disaster. Well, that puts it at 60 days before July 10th of 23. We always have 3 years to amend a return. So that puts it to July 10th of 26. So those older returns, 19, 20, and 21, need to be filed, and I mean to the IRS in their hands by July 10th of 26. After that date, we go back to the normal 3 years back plus the current year. This is a special provision because of COVID.
So, if you will, what is the time to process it that the average client's going to take to get all the documents to you?
That's the rub right there. It's the hardest part is to gather the documents from the clients, just like it was with the ERTC. The hardest part of getting this work done is getting everything from the client. And that's been the case here too, is getting everything we need from the client to be able to do the work. We as a firm won't process a case until we feel like we have 90% of what we're asking for. It's just very inefficient for us to go in there multiple times every time they upload something to determine if that's what we needed. So we go in when we feel like we've got 90%, and we go in there and do a sweep, determine what we have and what we don't have and what we still need. But that is the hardest part. It's getting the information from the client.
Is there an average time, 2-3 weeks, or is it sometimes longer?
It really depends. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, some people are just all over it, and other people are just dragging their feet and doing absolutely nothing. So
what's the record? What's the fastest somebody's done it? Got all the documents in, done, ready to go. Oh, you got muted somehow and frozen. Stay with us, folks. He will be back. Something happened, but you know what? That's computers. I'll tell you one of the good things. I've learned how to edit a little bit. So when I put this back together, if there's a minute pause or something, I'll take it out and we'll have a good recording. Everybody just hang in there. Technology happens.
Maybe your
And if
question
you're
scared
not,
him away.
who? What? We got another
I
Steven,
said,
I see.
it's hi, Stephan Hutter in Kansas. I said maybe your question scared him away from the meeting.
Another Stephen? Are you kidding me?
No,
And that
sir.
That's
helps a
right. He's
lot
back.
knowing the
Mr.
rep's
Brewer?
also going to stay after the, yep.
Mr. Brewer, you were not here for like a minute and a half.
Okay.
So I don't know
So
exactly where you froze, but we were at, I was asking you, what's the record time somebody has got their documents in and you finished up and sent it out, if you don't
all
mind?
right. So the record is the fastest I've seen is I spoke to a gentleman on the interview on a Friday. He said he would have the information to us over the weekend, and he did. There was a few things we still needed from him, but the bulk of it came in over the weekend. So really, it's
That's
a lot of
amazing.
it depends on the client. So we
So
can't work on it till we have all the information.
when it goes to the IRS, now you filed it, I've learned this electronically. Once they have it in-house, what is the average time for them to process it?
So the returns for 22, 23, 24, and 25 get filed electronically. Now 22 we've lost, so but 23, 24, 25 get filed electronically. I say lost means we can't e-file it anymore.
Right,
So
okay.
so we can e-file those returns. We get an approval, meaning the case has been accepted in a couple of days. When I say accepted, I mean accepted for processing. It still has to go out to a human being for physical processing, but it's in the system and accepted. So it's, they still have to assign it, but normal turnaround time and electronically filed and amended returns more in the 6 to 12 week range. And it's not a perfect world, because you're going to have some people that are just really efficient and others are, Johnny Shoebox. It's just they've got stuff piled up on their desk.
All right, well, that's getting down to the nitty gritty. I tell you, I know that you're busy. I know you only have so many minutes to be with us. If you don't mind, I'll do some examples. I'll show them how to use the calculator later. After
Sure,
we would love to have a little Q&A for other folks that are in here right now, if we don't mind doing
sure.
that. Let's
That's probably a
open up
good
the
use of
mic,
time.
unmute you. And you have your deadline is it like 10 minutes from now?
Yeah, if you can.
Yep, we'll do that. All right, folks, we got a few minutes. This is your chance to ask a personal question. It doesn't matter how new or old you are. Just if you have a question, let's do it. Who's first?
I have a couple questions.
Now
Sure.
you only get one. I'm joking. Go ahead.
First of all, is there any conflict of interest for us to partner with payroll companies or CPAs for them to refer their clients to you, to us?
No, none whatsoever. Now,
Okay.
other than the fact that a lot of the Board of Accountancies are reluctant to allow a CPA to receive compensation for work performed. But the AICPA has come out with a different model, or they call it ROI model, meaning if you can point out and show that it is in the client's best interest, even though they're being compensated, then the AICPA believes that that's okay.
Oh,
And
interesting.
typically, what the AICPA believes, the boards of accountancy also believe. But some of the accountants may tell you that that's a conflict of interest. They can't be compensated for making a recommendation.
Okay, and payroll companies are good to go regardless, correct?
Yeah, payroll companies, again, other than the conflict of interest issue, but they're going to have less of a conflict of interest.
Okay, and have you had any of those professions refer to you before or no?
Yeah, we've been doing this for a while. So we've had other payroll services that say, we don't do this, and our clients are being asked for it. So we have done that work behind the scenes for payroll services when the client's requesting it. Because
Okay,
some of the payroll services, actually many of the payroll services, will provide them with a report and tell them, hey, this is your responsibility to go after this. This is not a service that we offer.
okay. All right, and then I haven't really heard anything about the best ways to prospect. Is there like just a elevator speech of what to say if you're cold calling a restaurant owner.
Usually I'll ask clients, to tell them that, have you heard of the FICA tips tax credit? No, I've never heard of that. Are you aware that you're not supposed to be paying FICA taxes on your employees' tips? Period. None. Not a single dollar. And they'll probably tell you, no, I've never heard of that. I'm pretty sure I've been paying it. Are you aware you can get money back currently for up to 7 years?
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So
So
you're going
what
to find I've
happens
said this
is,
on webinars many, many times, and I tell clients, I tell reps, look, don't take my word for this. 80 to 90% of businesses have never heard of the FICA tips tax credit, and I've yet to have somebody tell me that that's not true. That's not the statistics that I'm bearing out. I mean, everybody's told me, yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm hearing is people telling me I've never heard of that before. I have no idea what that is. I've never heard of it. Most
so
business owners are paying the
once you've done this, are we losing that client because they're not going to pay in anymore? Or do they
No,
keep doing it for
no,
some
no.
reason and have to call it again?
The FICA Tips Tax Credit is an ongoing program. So what I've come up with going forward is to charge a flat fee to continue to do this work year after year. I mean, if the tax professional is not going to do it, if the payroll service is not going to do it, and they're not likely to do it, then if we offer this as a service, I can't see that a client's going to want to give us 25% every year to do this work. But they would pay a flat fee, to do the work and provide them with the document that they could plug into their return, provide to their tax professional.
So since they're not, by law, they don't have to turn this tax in, why would they do it again for us to have to file it again?
Well, I mean, they can reduce the 941s. The problem is there's not a payroll service that I'm aware of that's doing that.
Okay.
I just saw some reports from Paychecks today, and it appears that they may be doing it, but I've got to call out to confirm that. But the majority of when I first started doing this, I was looking for a payroll service that would reduce the tax on the 941s and not charge it. And every one of them told me, nope, we're not going to do it because we see that as a liability. You're asking us to rely on information that the client gives us and not withhold taxes based upon that. That's a problem for us because we're being held responsible for penalties for taxes that have not been withheld.
Gene, please come in. Your mic's not muted, so I know you got a question about a sellout. Are you here, Gene? See if
Yeah,
we
can you hear me?
Please go. Ask.
Okay,
Please.
yeah, Mr. Brewer, you had mentioned something about transferring or selling an EIN number.
Mm-hmm.
And I had spoken with a restaurant who's in the process of purchasing their restaurant, or they may have already purchased it. And when I asked them about that, they said that that wasn't allowable in Tennessee. When I Googled
Maybe
it,
some states do prohibit that. Yes, I've heard that.
oh, okay. So then in Tennessee, I'm assuming then that's probably not something they can do.
Yeah, so you definitely have to know the state laws and whether that's possible. And that doesn't happen a lot anyway, because keep in mind, if legal's involved in the transaction or you've got a CPA involved in the transaction, they're going to tell you don't do that. That's a bad idea. So legal's going to tell you that's a bad idea because you're accepting the liability of the prior. So if somebody didn't pay their taxes, you're accepting that liability. So bad idea, don't do that. And
Well, in this
then
case, it might be family members, so they may have gone ahead and done that. If they did, is it still something we shouldn't deal with?
if they purchase the EIN, then we can do the back returns because they assume that those returns. They assume that EIN number that belongs to them now, and they get the history back as well.
Because I think there are certain circumstances in Tennessee where it is allowable, but it's very rare. So I'll have to
Yeah,
check with see.
yeah, definitely would want to know and be on top of that. I mean, from an IRS standpoint, they're if they want to know whose EIN number is that.
Gotcha.
But that's
I
more of a
appreciate it.
state law issue than anything else, as far as whether it's allowable.
Okay, appreciate it.
Very
Sure.
good.
I have a question about that. Could we not reach out to the previous owner and offer to amend their back tax returns?
Yeah, I mean, if that's a situation where they only purchased they only own it from such and such. I mean, case in point, did a client not too long ago where it was exactly that. This client owned it from 2023 on, and prior to that, the rep is reaching out to the prior owner and saying, hey, you can do 22, 21, 20, and 19 right now. So yeah.
Great.
Ask away, guys. Anything you might have.
It's Renee. I have a question.
Sure.
Hi, Mr. Brewer. So I have a question about, I was invited to a meeting and they talked about tariff refunds. Is that, is that something you're familiar with, or is it?
I am familiar with it. It's something else that we're pursuing. So we negotiated an agreement I think about Tuesday, Wednesday. So yes, we are pursuing the tariff refunds as well.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a timeline on that at all, or is that just so new it's going to take a bit of time?
No, that's live right now. I mean, it's probably not in the back office yet because we've got to tie out to the landing page and everything else. But theoretically, right now, we can submit cases. And we should submit cases as quickly as possible because the client's only got so much time to file a claim.
Is
So
that also the 8-week window or the July 10th window, or what is that?
No, that's a different. So they've got a certain amount of time from what they call liquidation date. Think of it as the liquidation date is the transaction. When the transaction occurred, they've got a certain amount of time after the transaction to submit their claim. So, and then each transaction, they may have transactions every single day. So somebody's got to track that so they can be on top of the dates that those have to be submitted. So the law firm does all that stuff.
And our
So
restaurant.
we won't have to be doing any of that. So we've got a relationship with a law firm that does that.
As
Our
we come up with,
restaurant-
everybody's going to want to know in the back end, is there a little bit of money in that for everybody, including us?
I don't think we heard your question, Rodney, but also, are restaurants good candidates for that? Do they have a lot of tariff charges?
No, yeah, restaurants are not likely to have much tariffs. If they purchased anything, they probably went through a broker, let's say they used FedEx or something and brought in something through FedEx. FedEx is the broker of record. So FedEx technically is the one that would go after the tariffs. They may pass that along to your client, but it's the broker of record that gets the tariff.
So what are good industries for us to share that with?
For tariffs?
Yes.
Importers.
Oh, okay.
Like we've got a couple of clients that they're furniture importers. All their furniture comes from overseas. So that's a really good candidate. It can be big bucks.
All
And have
right.
you come up with a commission plan for the field yet on that?
Yeah, we're working on that. Like I said, we want to get everything solid and get the landing page and everything. So we're right now we're working on a tariff landing page, just like all the others. And so that tariff landing page will tie into the portal for initiating a new case. So it'll submit from the landing page. We'll fill out some information, just like we do on other surveys, and then that'll submit to the landing page for the portal for initiating a client.
Well, this has been a great time. And again, I like the Mr. Brewer thing. Hey, I'm military. I'm all that. And that's why I appreciate who you are. I understand you might have another meeting plan like right now in 1 minute. If you do, we want to thank you if that's the case.
Yeah, I'll take maybe one more.
Okay.
I have one more.
Sure.
What are you going to do when your calendar gets full? Are you cloning yourself?
I am in the process of cloning myself right now, just because I have to. I'm going to be traveling this next week, so I'm already in the process of cloning myself and taking those FICA. So it's somebody that's been doing other verticals for me. So it's nothing new. I just need to train him up on how I process. That's why I've been doing them myself for a little while to get a sense for the type of questions that are asked and the concerns that somebody raises, so I can train somebody else. It was never my intention to do this indefinitely. Will I jump on and take take some interviews? And yeah, I like to talk to clients, so I'll still put myself on the calendar. I just don't want to be the primary one on the calendar.
Right, great. And will he be a tax attorney as well, or CPA,
No,
or?
no. So
Okay.
you don't really need to be a tax attorney. You just have to understand the process. And really, it's going through the client. Most of the calls are, how many tipped employees do you have? What do you pay them per hour? What is the average tip? And if the rate is below the minimum wage rate, how many hours you work? You take all that information and you plug it into the calculator and say, hey, looks like you're going to get $64,000 back. Is that something you want to pursue? Well, yeah, of course it's something I want to pursue. That's the bulk of the client calls. It's not even really sales. There's not a lot of sales to it. It's just really saying, is this one you want to pursue? Sure. I mean, I'd say
So,
right now my close rate's probably better than 95%. And the only ones, I think I maybe had a couple of them where they're like, I'm not sure. And by the time I was at the end of the call, maybe that's my sales prowess. But most of them are just, yeah, I want to do this. Why would I not want to do this? So
So,
you don't really need to have, don't even really need to have that much tax background to do that interview.
so
But
you're interviewing
the person
with
that I
them.
would hand that off to has got tax background.
Okay. So that sounds pretty much the same as what we ask them. What's different? I mean, do these restaurant owners know those numbers off the top of their head to get a accurate?
Most of them have a sense. I mean, then they may say, "Well, I'm not sure." I'm like, take a rough guess at it, because all I'm really trying to do is determine if this makes sense for you. I'm not asking to get accurate numbers. If it's you're telling me 375 a week in tips, but it's really more like 450. Okay, it's only going to be better once we find the actual numbers and we get the actual data. All I'm trying to do right now is, does this make sense for you?
Right, but it sounds like a lot of them don't even know if they're getting the credit or how they're getting the credit. They think they are, but how do you verify that?
Most of them, if you ask them a question like, do you remember getting a substantial, I mean, like a client I just did, I mean, $64,000 in 1 year. I asked him, do you remember getting like a credit for $64,000 in 1 year? And he said, yeah, I know I've been getting substantial credits. That's why I hardly pay any taxes. I'm like, I said, for me, I had him go look on the form. Because in the back office, in the landing page, there's a question there that says, how do I know I didn't already take this? You can tell them exactly where to look on the return to determine if they
Okay,
already have this.
that's
So,
what I'm hearing.
but
Okay.
again, very rarely does it go to that level. I just usually will ask them, do you remember getting a substantial credit every year? Yeah, I do remember that. Okay, then you're probably taking advantage of it. Yeah, because
Okay.
the one that I just did a little bit ago, yeah, he said, yeah, I typically get this much in credit every year. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because that ties out about to what I just calculated.
So should we recommend that they have their past returns at their fingertips when they?
Don't necessarily need that. All they really need to know is, know those figures, know that, how many tipped employees I have. I don't care if it's, I have 10, but really what I have is 11. It doesn't make any difference. That's
Right.
going to be close
Yeah.
enough.
Okay.
What do you get paid per hour? Well, I'm not quite sure. Take a guess at it. What do you think you pay per hour? Once it's above 515, it doesn't make any difference how much you pay, because the minimum wage rate for this program is 515 an hour. So anything above that doesn't make any difference.
Okay.
So, they just all you're trying to do is determine, does this make sense? Is this something you want to pursue?
I have
very
a
good.
question.
Okay.
When I get this refund, if you will, I FICA taxes, will that count as income for your next year's tax?
You're kind of cutting in and out, so I think I understood what you asked me. So is the question whether this is taxable income?
Yeah.
In that respect, it's a lot like ERC. So in ERC, we had to tell the clients, hey, you're getting this money back, but you took a tax deduction for a certain amount of payroll taxes that you paid. You have to go back and amend those returns to reflect the fact that you got that money back. A lot of clients didn't do it. That's on them. Now, this is different because when we do the amendment of the returns, we also reduce the deduction for the credit that they're getting back. So we're fixing it on this client in regards to the FICA tips. ERT was completely separate because we were amending 941s and not amending corporate returns. This case, we're amending corporate returns, so we fix both sides. We get the credit and we also reduce the taxes paid. So we're fixing it as we go along. Does that
Can I
make
ask a
sense?
quick question?
Sure.
As far as, is there anything like a generic response that you could give a restaurant owner once they want to know what they are going to have to bring in as far as documents? Is there anything that we just say just to let them know to be prepared once they get in contact with you?
So what we're going to need from them is we're going to need tax returns. We're going to need payroll records. We're going to need payroll tax reports. So part of what we're doing is we're verifying that they're supposed to get this. So those are the things. So what they would get, so we'd sign them up in the portal, and then when we send them a request for information, we tell them, here's all 8 steps of the things we're going to need from you. I'm sorry, 9 steps. So here's all the things we're going to need from you. So we give them that early on. And we tell them the first thing they need to do is fill out the survey. So off the survey comes everything else.
Okay, that helps with getting the introduction and the opening and getting ready for the close. And
Yeah.
the other question I had, the last question I do have is, if this service is provided, like, is it running like congruent with the regular tax season, or is it something that you can do all year round? Like, if we're getting people that are going, like, we're getting ready to get into the next fiscal year as far as fall and winter before the next tax season, are we able to continue doing the recovery throughout, or is it just a deadline from right now for going back to the?
Yeah, this is not a one and done. This is an ongoing program. This has been around since 1993, and I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. And the reason is because it is successful. So back in 93, it was estimated that only 15% of all tips ever got reported. Well, that number, that percentage is considerably higher now for a lot of reasons. This program, for one, the POS systems that report, and a lot of things are done in credit cards now. But for a lot of reasons now, that the tips are reported. But it's successful. Congress believes this program is successful, and so they renew it right away every year. I mean, every time it comes up for sunset, they renew it. It's not like, work opportunity tax credit, where there's never really been that much statistical evidence that says that it really retains employees. This program clearly shows that it works.
Okay. Okay, well, great. That's what I need to know. That kind of puts it all into perspective for me when I actually have to make contact with a different prospect. So thank you for answering those questions.
Thank you for those questions. One more statement. There was a question in the room about the tariffs. Would it work for car dealers?
I don't know the answer to that question. If they were paying, I don't think, because there's a list of the ones they were charging tariffs on. I don't think cars was, I don't know the answer to that, but I can get the answer.
All right. I hear no chatter. Anybody? Last chance?
Yeah. Well, this is the last thing. Now that you are speaking about tariffs, I'm trying to understand a little bit more with the different type of businesses. What are the tariffs? How does that combine with the tariffs, and how you get the type of credit for businesses that have to charge
listening to what you say because there's a
Yeah,
terrible
I had a
breakup.
hard time hearing that.
We're going to have special
Oh,
meetings
there was
on
some
that.
background noise.
Well, yeah, so just know we're going to be sharing that. Come back to these meetings often, if you will. And if not, we'll have them and record them and send them to you. This is day one for tariffs.
Okay,
So,
no worries. I'll wait.
well, you just make sure you stay in touch with us and we'll definitely get those answers. Pardon me. All right. We really appreciate it. Stephan and everybody, we had a great showing. I'm going to continue the meeting when he departs. And I'm going to do that for a couple reasons. That's for those who are newer, who have not seen maybe the form that you fill out or help fill out. So I'm going to be presenting that. Any last words,
No,
Stephan?
I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next
You're
time.
welcome. Bye.
All right, folks, stick around. And I'm going to show the document that he brought up earlier. And you can, again, we're going to keep an open forum. So just if you want to ask a question, ask. Everybody has this as your landing page. Behind this landing page is your link. It's embedded. You're not going to see it. That's the way it is now. So I know different people are doing this different ways. Some people send this to their client and hope they fill it out. Some people are getting on the phone and they don't even see this form. They just fill it out for them. So what I'm going to show you, and I'm going to do this very quickly, is this form gets filled out. They will be asked what their taxable income is for the last year. There'll be an explanation later when we go into slower details. They put in the amount of money in this form that the business brought in. Let's say it was $2 million. Let's say, well, how much of that did you spend? 180,000. And then you click next. If you miss something on that form, it's going to say you missed something and take you back. Then you're going to go down and fill out what kind of business that is, put in the company name. You're going to you just kind of know these questions ahead of, how many states are you operating in? Then you put in their first name, their last name. What are we doing here? We're booking an appointment for whoever's going to take that phone call at the company. And for now, it's Stephan or Mr. Brewer. And then you put in their again, this is their information. So me@me.com for an email. If there's any comments, click the robotic thing. I'm not a robot. Click submit. And again, at this point, what you're doing is booking an appointment with him, with whoever is taking these calls. And all you're going to do at that point is talk to your client and say, can you do it tomorrow at 3:30? Or if you have to go to the next day, let me show you the tab. Pick a date, pick a time. And when you do, here's what's most important. Put your email right here where it says guest email. That way you're going to be invited on the call. Okay, so if you're brand new, and maybe that's the first time you saw that, but that's how you get the appointment booked. It doesn't matter how you do it, just get it done, and that's where we're at. Now, again, on your form, and I'm gonna go back a couple pages to the calculator. So I'm gonna bring that up. Give me a second. And again, I'm gonna do this real quick. We're gonna do this slow with every one of you. Whoever's helping you, brought you in. If you're newer, the main questions you have to ask is, how many employees, just like you said, do you have that were average working? And if it's 20, you just type 20 in. What is the average amount of weekly income for those employees? Let's say it's $700. And what you're looking at now, that whatever numbers these come up with, and even the hourly wage, if you move up to the 515, because that's the state that it's in, the county, the city, whatever this number comes out to, and I'm going to change that 20 to 15 employees, but you're going to see these numbers all around the board. This is how much money they can take home. This is net money, not gross, per year. Hear me out, per year, 30,000 times a total of say 7 years. That's $210,000. Now, we're here for two reasons. We're here to help the client get money. And what's the other reason? Help ourselves get money. So I'm going to bring up my calculator here in just a minute. We'll do that. Any questions? Let me do a question or two in between now and when I pull the calculator up. Any comments or questions on that?
And I,
Should that amount be for this year or an average over the last 3 to 7 years, depending on how far they can go back?
Yeah, obviously it's going to change. It's going to be maybe 5 years ago they didn't have as many employees, but it's going to be an average. Over and really we're the initial conversation is about the first 3 or 4 years, but yeah, just on average.
Okay.
Who's next?
can it's me, Khalees. I have one other question. Now, as we're, just saying that, we're closing in on different owners getting their recoveries for them, how are we able to collect on our payouts? So do we have to wait? It's like just how you wait for a tax return? Is that how we get paid out, or how does that work?
I think I got most of that. Again, we're breaking up a little bit, but I think the question is, how does it take to get paid? Is that the main question?
Yes. How do we get paid out? Is it like a tax return? We have to wait for the
I think to understand is this. When he has finished up and everything's at the IRS, when that money is processing, what happens is he's had documents signed so that the 25% of the money that's going to come to the tax firm, his firm, and to the trust account comes straight back to the trust account immediately. This money's not going to go to the client for that percentage, which is 25%. So that money is going to process right back into his hands. And what that means for us is it won't take long for us to get paid. Now, right now, the company is paying monthly. Now, that can change in time to where that's going to be, different, whether it be biweekly or whatever it might be. But what I'm going to show you now, and so the timeline is this, and I wrote it down again tonight myself. You look at how long does it take the client to get everything turned in? That's up to them. But once it's done, whether it be a record-breaking 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks, or if it's longer, it's just longer. But once it gets to the IRS, what he has told us is 6 to 12 weeks before that money now, when it finalizes, that 25% that's coming back to the agency comes back immediately. And this depends on when the pay cycle is, when he's going to process that and pay us. So what I'm going to do while we're asking those same questions, think about that $20,000, $30,000 per year. Now, again, be clear that we're going to get paid and he's going to get paid only for 3 or 4 years up front. We'll call it 4 years. And then the rest of the money is not going to be coming back immediately for nobody. So we're not going to get paid on all 7 years when it's all said and done. We're going to get paid on 4 months. So again, you think about that, we can look at the total, the whole, but let's take 20,000 times 7 years. 2 times 7, 140. We'll do, let's say $150,000. Well, I didn't do 150. 150. Are you seeing the calculator? Somebody tell me.
Yeah.
All right. So contingency fee is 25%. That means 37,000 is coming back to the firm. Now, of that, the actual cost of doing the filings, look at the A2 over here. The tax filing cost is $2,000 on B4. $2,000 per year. If we're just talking about 3 years, that's one thing, but let's put in the 7. So if they're processing 7 years in claims, they're due, in this case, $14,000 out of the $37,000. So 23 is left over. Then of that, he pays 65% to the field in this case. So the total commission is $15,275. But your part, if you brought this to the table, your total amount of commission is $11,456. And those people before you would get paid this other money. Or when you have a network of people, this is what you'll make on your levels of the people you bring in. If you've got somebody who's doing this and they get 11,000, you're going to get 1,500. How would you like to have 10 of those per month at 1,500? That's $15,000. I'll pause. Anybody?
The only one I was using is in the bathroom.
What'd you say, Donna?
I'm sorry.
I don't know that was not somebody. Anybody else have a comment or question on that? We're not going to drag it out because we will go over this personally. If I didn't sponsor you into the business, you and your sponsor, I, them, whoever it is, will help you go over this. If you don't have a calculator, I share this with people. And if you don't have your own copy, ask for it from whoever sponsored you. We'll get your own calculator so you can do your own math to figure out what you're going to earn. I'm going to officially stop the recording for a couple reasons, but let me do that. However,